Hey, what's going on, everyone? So today's video, I want to talk about globalism. Now, forgive me, today I'm kind of sick. But anyways, globalism, this is the end game, right? Everything, it seems like everything that the left stands for, that's what that's the end game is having this world, this world government that's tied with the big, the politicians and big companies. They call it the Great Reset. But you can tell that there's a shift taking place, a giant shift. And right now, there's critical race theory, CRT, cancel culture, and all these other things. But if you take everything to its conclusion, globalism is the end game. For example, everything that the left is doing, like open borders, the IDs for the jab, hate speech on tech platforms. You know, they say it's hate speech, basically control of speech. Climate policy, climate change policy, and the UBI, the Universal Basic Income. All of these things are implementations of globalism. So, one thing about politics that the left always says, the left is, they're socialists, right? And they're pretty much communists. They go back to the days of the 1940s, World War II, where the communists and the fascists were opponents. They were opposites. And so the left, because they can only see totalitarian governments and big governments, they think because they're communists that the conservatives are automatically fascists. But however, those two groups are on the left, and the right is small government. We don't want big government. We want small government and more freedom. But the left wants a huge government. They want control, and they can't envision an America or a world where there is no big government. They don't want personal agency. They want stuff controlled for them. That's why they lobby for things like welfare and all of that stuff, right? Now, when it comes to globalism, these companies are these billionaires, these companies like Amazon and Walmart. These are the companies we need to look out for. It used to be that big companies liked conservatives. And why did they like conservatives? Because conservatives are for limited government. And when you have limited government, you have fewer regulations and not so many government agencies all up in their business, right? But they have found out that if they have big government and the politicians in their pockets, which is what they have right now, then it's easier for them. So they're like, who cares about having small government? We'll just go along, have big government, and then they'll assist us and all that stuff. Do you really think that a politician is going to be all up in your business if they're getting money from you? No. They can pull the strings for them. But our biggest problem right now in America, with everything that's been going on, one of the biggest problems, has been career politicians. And it happens on both sides. We see all the people who are making the wrong calls and voting for the wrong things are the ones who have been in power forever. You know, Biden has been in since 1972. Pelosi has been around for 33 years. I mean, even Republican Mitch McConnell, he's been in for 36 years, and his term doesn't end until 2027. So we're talking about 42 years of being in politics. Yeah, the House members they get elected every other year, but the Senate is every 6 years. So I don't understand. A lot of people think that the president has most of the power, right, with executive orders and stuff like that. But really, the biggest powers are is Congress. It's the House and the Senate, and there could be an argument made for the judicial branch, the Supreme Court. But the House and the Senate are the ones who make the laws. These are the policymakers and the lawmakers, and these are the things that we need to watch out for, because these politicians, these are the ones who have a career, who have been around so long that they have stacked up favors, and they have debts that they owe companies. All these companies pouring money into their campaigns, and they owe them something, and we need to get rid of these people. We need to set term limits, and we need to address this issue if we ever want America to be honest again. So, what's going on now, the big thing that I think people need to be aware of in regards to the economy is what's going on now with people and jobs. We have the biggest job surplus in a long time. I hear something like 8 million jobs right now. I go to my local stores and I see fast food restaurants closing down because they don't have workers. Everywhere is hiring, and some people may say that's good, but it's not. Because what's happening is people are not wanting to work. I mean, a lot of people like Tim Pool and Jack Murphy and all these places, all these people, they're talking about how nobody wants to work because they're getting paid $16 to $20 an hour from unemployment. But then they go to work and they're like, oh yeah, you get paid $15 an hour if you work, but you'll get $16 an hour if you stay home. That's a problem, because that disincentivizes people to work. The biggest problem is what's going to happen when the government says, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. The people are going to go crazy. There's going to be a large, especially one side of the aisle, they're going to be like, no, that's not fair. And they've seen this government use the virus of unknown origin. They've seen them use this for, the media used it for ratings. The government used it to gain power. We all know what I'm talking about. They saw them use this, and they're going to say, why can't I use this? So they're going to say, no, how dare you force me to go back to work when I could get sick and all this stuff. No, they're going to demand their own enslavement through a UBI. And that's what a UBI is. A UBI is getting money from the government. People are no longer working for themselves, and they're getting money from the government. And when that happens, the government can make demands on your life. They can start saying you have to get the jab. They can start saying that you can't say certain things on social media. Our First and Second Amendments could go right out the window, because they can say, yeah, no, you technically have the right to do all that stuff, but if you want to continue getting money from us, that's a different thing. And so we all need to be aware, because this UBI is an issue. And I do think the universal basic income is going to be a thing that happens when it comes to globalism. And we also saw this whole thing when it comes to the R word, right? Oppression of a certain race. Who do you think that they're going to lobby gets it first? Now, I don't care. I don't want a UBI. But they're definitely not going to say that the white people should get it first. They're going to say certain minority groups and things like that should get it. And like I said, those who get it are going to be controlled. I mean, just look at welfare. Minority groups have been controlled through welfare, especially when it comes to kicking the males out of the homes. We have a whole bunch of fatherless children, because to apply for welfare, you cannot have a male worker in the household. So they kicked all the males out of the house, and now all these people don't have fathers. And so what do? They go out in the community, and they get involved in gangs. we need to be very wary what's going on in our communities. But yeah, anyways, so basically the message I want to put out there is, yes, there are certain things that we need to fight against and small issues and things like that. But we need to be aware of the big picture game. We need to be seeing everything that's going on in the long game, because they fight for an inch, but they're really looking down all the way a mile down. We can't we can't sacrifice the long game just because we're looking too much at the short game. Anyways, I know I'm rambling, but anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Subscribe, like, and thank you for watching.